Welcome to the City of South Bend, Washington. This City Council meeting was held on June 9th, 2025.
We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. All right, will you grab the clipboard for items from the public? Each person tonight will have 3 minutes to address the council. All right, I'll figure out how to do this. There we go. So each person will have 3 minutes to make a statement to the council, and we will begin with whoever's first on the list there. Kate O'Neill.
O'Neill, thank you.
All right.
Okay, Robert Michael Pyle, the author of Evergreen and the Audubon Book of Butterflies, just sent me this. It's a lot longer than I didn't realize. We only have 3 minutes, so gotta be quick. Many years ago, my late wife, Tia, spearheaded election initiatives to create a library district in Wahkiakum County, so we could join the Timberland Regional Library Association. Both suggest successive attempts, first for the whole county and then for just the West End, went down. I hate to say it, but now I think the voters did the right thing. We have a fine independent town library in Cathlamet, whereas Timberland has lost its heart, mind, and conscience and is abandoning branches right and left. Nasell Timberland Library has lost all its librarians and most of its staffs, and the same is now pending for South Bend, Raymond, and other small branches with fine rebuildings. For the loss of librarians, members get key fobs for personal access, self-checkout that seldom works right, and bookmobiles on promise. Bookmobiles were great in the olden days, huh? But have we not got past that? Our Cathlamet Public Library is now the last one standing between Longview and Long Beach, and we must do everything necessary to support it, regardless of budget constraints. He sent this to the Eagle, Cathlamet Eagle. A library without a librarian, as Nasell pretends to be, is no library. And a town without a library is no town at all. Signed, Robert Michael Pyle. And this is what I have to say. Loneliness is now an epidemic in our society, and our brains are literally wired for connection. Gabor Mate, who has chronicled the growing illnesses in our country, both mental and physical, and the ever-increasing number of deaths of despair, overdoses, and suicides, says it's not the absence of adversity, but the presence of connection that fosters the security basic for our overall health. What fosters more connection than a book that feels like it was written just for you by an intimate friend? One that shows you you're not alone. And what's more comforting than a shared place where readers congregate to discuss both books and matters of the day? I think libraries are a basic necessity for our overall health, and certainly for our democracy. And it's our sacred duty to nurture them for generations to come.
And you're at time. Good job.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. All right, and next, if we could have people, I also forgot to say, if you could please identify yourself before you speak. Do we have people online that don't know who you are?
And I am Bob Powell, former trustee for 15 years prior to Tony. Actually, I was hoping that you would review the status of all the money issues so we would know, we could more intelligently discuss what the options were. I know a lot of people have expressed interest in that meeting, I guess, 2 meetings ago, and where you reviewed some of that. I'm concerned, some people are real fine concerned about the Carnegie Library, but from what was said at that meeting, it sounds like a money pit to me. And unless you have money to fix it, and it seemed like there was a mention of one project had to have a 10-year guarantee that it would remain open, which might be a stretch with the continuing issues. I know when I was trustee, TRL did put some of its money into the library, and I asked Cheryl to remind me that TRL put $125,000 into Raymond, our neighbor. So unless you have money to fix the current library, I'd say look for an alternative.
Unless we have further information.
And one other thing, one of the discussions before dealt with people that live near the library could access it freely. That's true, but most of the patrons in the 5 counties do not live walking distance to libraries. I don't think that issue in itself is a very important one.
I think it is for children.
This is not public discussion time. This is for a time for one person to make a statement to the council. We don't go back
Thank
and
you,
forth. Okay, thank you. All right, I gotta figure out how to redo this. Bear with me, I don't do this often. Okay, and you were finished?
I was.
Okay, and next we have,
Diane the Wild's my name. Kind of hard to stand up. I'm sitting down, I'm like, you hear me? Okay?
Yes.
Okay. A few weeks ago, my husband and I went down to Astoria to hear David Sedaris speak at the Liberty Theater. It was packed. Packed. We bought tickets a few days before they opened up. We got two of the last 4 tickets. And the people who came there were buying books. They bought books in the lobby and they were lined up to get them signed. After the show, they were lined up all the way down the aisleway to get their books signed. Books are not a dead issue. People want books. Hard copy is not a dead issue. So first off, we need those books on the shelves. Second off, the library here is not just, as Kate pointed out, it's as Bob pointed out, it's not just a computer. The librarians here are excellent people to help you with your email, with your cell phone, with your PDF file, with handling the Xerox machine. They are a service of all different manner that we can't afford as individuals. Plus, we all get problems. I don't know if anybody else had a problem with their email, with their computer. Hello? These people can help you. They're good. They're really good, and we need to support them and have them here. Okay, also, the building is a resource as a place to meet for kids after school, for the garden club, for programs that they have, for all different things. The gaming group meets there in Raymond. They have those rooms to meet in. Nacelle has an excellent meeting room with a little kitchen area and everything else like that for meetings and things like that. How often is it used now? It's not being used, and that's a waste of effort there. I remember when Michelle was the librarian down there. They fought like hell to get that thing built. They had to repair it twice. They had to work on the water system. They got it going. They got that library in Nacelle up and going, and it was good. Now, this library we have here started in 1913. It's been open through the pandemic, 1918. It's open for the Depression, through 2 World Wars, the Korean War. We can keep it going. They've got a dedicated bunch of people who want to keep it going. They're willing to put their money up for it, and they have a good body of friends. And so I think there's no reason to close this library. It needs to be repaired. We need to get a different engineer's report on that thing and get this thing repaired.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you, Diane. Beautiful.
okay. Thank you, Diantha. All right, and next we have,
That's all on the list.
okay. All right, and everyone signed up that wanted to speak.
Well, not everybody, I don't see very well.
Okay, can you say who you are?
Doug McLean,
Okay,
I've been using the South Bend Library for quite some time. And I'm sort of a library person from day one. And I find libraries extraordinarily useful. My life is not just a business model. It's actually more of a philosophical and religious model that draws from all different sources. And being that as it was, I wrote a poem for a friend of mine called Charlie Geller, who is a librarian in Tom Green County. And it's part of my new book. And so I'd like to recite it. It's a 16-line sonnet I wrote. Charlie, Charlie, they done you wrong. They sold you short when all along your conscientious librarianship called for a full-time lectureship. I've seen your manners, nicer than nice. I've seen your footwork, very precise. With every checkout, the human touch. With every check-in, you say how much you care about books. And you care more about books than jokes and looks. Cultivating through conversation ideas unique to civilization. Here in the garden of the flourishing mind, the public library needs more of your kind. Libraries are essential, unless we want to dummy down everything. Yes.
Wow, well said.
Yes, beautiful.
Okay. Hush.
You're Jewish, huh?
David McLean?
And was there anyone online that wished to address the council tonight? I don't see any raised hands, so.
Mayor,
No, thank you.
and on the agenda as library, is that different from items from the public?
Items from the public is the operative. It's number 3 is items from the public. This is the public's opportunity to speak to the library issue.
It also listed library as a.
And then there's number 9, which is
There.
public comments on the current agenda item.
Yeah, no, the library discussion is for the council. It's a discussion with the council on the library. This is the opportunity for the citizens to speak now.
Were you,
So are you-
were you gonna call on the library director and the current trustee? No,
No,
or Jenny?
they're here in case there are questions for them.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, I can put my name on the list.
okay,
Then really quick.
sure.
I'll just provide a quick update from friends, if that's okay. I'm Jenny Knoyer. I'm the current president of the Huntsville Library, former librarian for the South Bend Library. I just wanted to let everybody know that a group of the Friends has been working diligently to try and ascertain hard numbers for some of the repairs that have been needed or that are currently needed. We've spoken a little bit to Cheryl about what the requirements that Timberland has before they would consider reopening. I think Joel has talked to Julie and Dennis a little bit about the numbers that he's been receiving. We think that it is entirely possible that the required repairs could be completed at a much lower price point than what has been mentioned before. But ultimately, obviously, it's up to the city and what they want to do. But we do have a little bit of money in our bank account, and the grant from Commerce has been reappropriated, as I understand it. And if they would allow a change in scope, I think that we could complete the repairs to the stairs without a redesign for a lot less, which would free up money to perform some abatement and other activities. So that's what we've been working on behind the scenes. I don't have the facts and figures with me. Joel apparently just got home from out of town, so he's not going to be here tonight. I thought he was going to come along. But happy to provide any of that info. And I think Joel's probably getting everything that he has. So that's, yep, he sent you a packet. So there are people working on it behind the scenes, and we are ready and willing to assist the city. Anything that we can.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Okay, so moving on, item number 4, would entertain a motion to approve the agenda, the consent agenda, and the minutes for May 28th, 2025.
So moved.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to correspondence. I have a letter from Joel Knoyer that he asked to have read. It says to Julie Struck, Dennis Houck, and the South Bend City Council members. And this was dated May 22nd, 2025. RE, the South Bend Library. Greetings. Just an update on the Friends' efforts to save the library. Gene Rondina of Problem Solved is working on getting bids for all the issues: the steps, the roof and gutters, and the mold, lead, asbestos abatement. He has a promising bid on the steps that would potentially free up much of the grant awarded for other purposes. That bid came in at $39,000. I have enclosed that and a previous bid along with a comparison Gene made. I have also enclosed a newer, much lower steps bid. We still need to pin down some other remove and replace costs for the shelving lights and other fixtures related to the abatement. Finally, I have enclosed notes from Cheryl Haywood, Director of TRL, on Timberland's requirements. The Department of Commerce has already committed to the step repair, which actually may cost less than $21,000. This leaves potentially over $150,000 for other repairs. Given this and the other funding likely available, the Friends are confident that sufficient funding will be available to meet all TRL's requirements. Please share this letter at the meeting. We hope to have a Friend member at the meeting and possibly Gene Rondina. We will keep you updated. Save the library. Sincerely, Joel Fenoyer, Attorney at Law. So we need to stop the comments, please. That's not appropriate in a city council meeting. So that, is there any other correspondence?
No.
That's it. Okay. So let's move on to the item 6, which is the library discussion with the council. And as Jenny has stated, I got a few notes here. The capital appropriation was reappropriated, so it is good through June of 2027. And as you remember, that was $250,000 roughly. I think there was some change in there from the Department of Commerce with a 50% match requirement, which means that another $250,000 has to be put up. It was a total of $500,000, but they will do 250 and we have to put up 250, correct, Jenny?
Correct.
Yes, that's what I thought. That's what I remember. So that includes the steps, which were the engineering was done by Gray and Osborne, how to do the steps, and also the drainage around the foot of the building to prevent the mold and the moisture intrusion into the basement. So that was not included in the work that was included in this packet from Joel and in any of the bids. The drainage project was not included. And the difference in the bids is a different concept of how to fix those steps. The one that the city received from Gray and Osborne was a replacement of the steps. The one that Joel has worked on is, I believe they're called helical piers, which is basically, you've heard of concrete leveling, where you put something on there and you lift them up. So the current steps would remain. They would just be kind of put back in place and the cracks fixed or whatever. That would be something the engineers would have to take a look at and determine if that is going to work in our situation. Don't know. I'm not an engineer.
I think that there was a couple different options, but the cheapest one was using the helical piers to push the bottom portion that's separated up. And then additionally, they would fix the drainage kind of around the stairs and fill the void that's underneath the stairs. So hopefully they wouldn't fall off from the building.
Okay. So, all right. So anyway, that's the difference in that bid. Now, as far as the asbestos abatement goes, there was a bid for $39,000 here, and that was just simply for some asbestos removal. It didn't include the manipulation of the contents and the cleaning of the fixtures to be replaced or total replace. It included none of that. It didn't include carpet replacement. It didn't include restoration of the walls and ceilings that were disturbed. It didn't include prevailing wage, which prevailing wage does apply on this job because the city's Department of Commerce funds that would be used, if even $1 of city funding is used, the whole project has to be prevailing wage. So that was not, Jenny, please wait.
Figures if he didn't send them.
It's, yeah, wait until you're called upon. This isn't a back and forth at this time. So, that the bid that we received from him was very incomplete. And I spoke with Joel and he recognized that it was very incomplete. So it's like apples to oranges. We don't know. We've got two, bids that the insurance company received, for the asbestos, abatement, for the total removal, replacement and manipulation of contents for everything. And one bid was 700,000 and the other bid was $1 million. Now, the bid that we received, or the commerce grant that was applied for the steps, I'm going over this because Bob, you asked me to do the numbers and I'm trying to, I didn't have them here in front of me, but I'm remembering as best I can. The commerce grant, when that money was applied for, was in 2023. So I know costs have escalated since then. We would have to reevaluate whether the money from commerce with the matching funds from TRL and the Friends would even complete that project in today's dollars. It probably would not. So we're looking at even more money there. Unless there's a solution, our engineers say that this helical pier thing or whatever else might work. We don't know. That would have to go to the engineers. But regardless, we're looking at a lot of dollars here, which the city does not have. One way to get those dollars would be to run a property tax levy. I don't think anyone's in favor of that. I'm not in favor of that. The timing on this, I would say that we are at least a year out on anything we do, looking for funding and applying for grants and those types of things. It takes time. If we were to apply for another capital appropriation grant for some of this other repair work that is needed, that doesn't even go in until toward the end of the year. And then it's discussed in legislative session at the state capitol. And we wouldn't know. We just did find out that this was reappropriated from the 2023-25 biennium. So it wouldn't be until May, June of next year before we'd even know if that money was appropriated for the library. So I don't believe that any of the work should be done. No dollars should be spent until we have all of the funding required and all of the parameters laid out and everything known that needs to be known in order to complete this project in its entirety. And the reason I say that is I would hate to see us spend $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 and still not be done and then not be able to complete it. And the Commerce Grant has a stipulation that you cannot use that funding until the building is complete and ready to move into. So you would have to do the inside work before you did the steps and the drainage project, because that has to be the last thing to be done. Because when you expend those commerce dollars, when that grant is expended, the building has to be move-in ready. That is a parameter of that grant funding. So that is a restriction that we also have as well. That's kind of where we are. And I will address another thing. Yes, I will call upon the library, and please only speak if you're called upon. So I'm going to call upon our TRL director, Cheryl Haywood. She would like to make a statement.
I would like to add to what you just said, that with relation to the Library Capital Improvement Program application, I would strongly recommend that the city talk to the person in charge of that program for finding out whether or not you could use those funds for other parts of the project, because there's a lot of strict regulations around the application process, the content, all of that.
Yeah, thank you. I was aware of that. So my recommendation, and I'm speaking to the council as well as everybody else. I'm just kind of setting the stage here. The decision is not mine. The decision is the council's. But my recommendation is that for now, for this interim period, until funding is accrued, until all these parameters are laid out, my recommendation is that we generate some type of MOU with the city of Raymond and share the monthly ongoing expenses of janitorial, utilities, that type of thing. Nothing to do with the building, just that. But for now, while this process is playing out, that we do an MOU with Raymond. It would also require some type of an agreement with TRL, and both boards, or their board and the two city councils, everyone would have to agree to this. But I would suggest that we look at that for now. And built into that would be the language that within 60, 90 days or whatever, we could give notice and back out of that. If at some point the funding is secured, the processes are established and we know what needs to be done, how much needs to be done, all of that. But we're looking at least a year, maybe two, before we can get this accomplished. And we've got budgets coming up. TRL has a budget, Raymond's got a budget, we've got a budget. We need to know what we're going to do with this for the next year. So I'm suggesting this as a stopgap measure. And now I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to let the council speak.
I would like to say something.
Yes.
Nobody wants to see the library go away. Nobody, but the building is not the library. Everything that we have been talking about here is the building, except for some really great poetry about the importance of books and everything. I still like to get a book and turn the pages and put my bookmark in and pick it up the next day and continue on. But there's got to be something else that we can consider other than spending $1 million, $2 million on a building that who knows what is going to happen 5, 10 years from now. Maybe that building could be somehow utilized by a group that has a bunch of money for a community center or something. Excuse me, Katie.
South Bend.
But my whole thing, and I know I'm alone on a desert island when I say this, but I just don't. I've read through all of this stuff from Joel, from this other guy, I can't remember what his name is, and it's all about the building. There's nothing about what goes the books. We can have an alternate location and still have our wonderful librarians, our wonderful resources, our wonderful inventory of books. But I guess I just don't get why it has to be in that building that will cost us $1 million. I'm sorry, that's how I feel.
Anyone else?
I'm just not seeing any other option other than your recommendation. There's simply no money.
Yeah.
We have no money. We already laid off one police officer. There's nowhere else we can cut to come up with that kind of money. We just can't, unless you're gonna be tapping into public safety or infrastructure. I just don't see what we can do at this point. I mean, timing is just not good.
I would agree.
No, I agree with the mayor, and I mean,
Yeah.
we gotta look at this and see what kind of funding is available, because you can't spend money you don't have. And any of you that were here at the last meeting when we did talk about the library, you know that I was a huge advocate about saving that building. I mean, I was mowing my yard the other day and I got a handprint of my girls that was made right there at that building. So, you know, when they were 5 years old when we moved here. So, I mean, that building does mean a lot to me, but as she says, the library is not the building. And I'm a huge advocate for that building, but if the money's not there to fix the building, it's simply not there. So we do need to do due diligence for the city and make sure that the money is there before we move forward with that. Other than that, we need to look at every option we have to keep libraries available for the kids in this community. And there is a library at the school. As an educator myself, as my wife is an educator, we know the kids around here have exposure to a lot of great books. And maybe this mobile library is a great service in between time to set up somewhere to make sure that we're doing what's right for the kids until we get the problem resolved. The bottom line, we know we have a problem. We're all willing to address that problem, but it's gonna take some time. So just please bear with us and give us the chance to make sure that we got the finances to do it before we move forward.
Yeah, I agree that we should compensate Raymond for our using of the library. My granddaughter 3 or 4 times a week. So I wish there was a shuttle. And I think we should just all work very hard and try to get the prices right and try to raise some money, get some grants. I am a little concerned that, I mean, I don't know if TRL wants a total abatement or if we can encapsulate. I mean, are you stuck on either of those? If the building tests out safe with encapsulating it, would TRL be happy with that? Just open it back up?
Would you like me to speak?
Yeah.
Are you, well, I just want to make sure. Don't recall. Are you referring to the asbestos?
Yes.
So Julie and I have talked about that, and it is your building. It's not our building. We would prefer to see it completely taken out, if possible, because it'll just fit. That would be our preference.
But on the other hand, if it tests out with L&I and all of your,
We're talking, the asbestos is a small portion. The bigger issue is the lead dust that is everywhere.
Yeah.
And that is the major issue. That's why we can't open this building right now, because it is dangerous for especially children and people who can't breathe well.
And of the 2 bids that I read, one of them addressed the lead and the mold, and the other one did not. So it's all very confusing, reading all of the bids and the verbiage, encapsulation, removal, and all, it is very confusing. So what does it all mean?
Well, what I can tell you is that Timberland Regional Library did pay for a third party. I think we paid about $10,000 for that report, so that it was a third party, not us telling you what is wrong with the building.
Yes.
So I would look to that one, the second report that I had sent to the mayor.
yeah. Have we seen those reports?
Yeah,
It's the one from Rollins.
It's been a while ago, a year or 2 ago or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I
It's been
like-
quite a while.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again.
Sometime last year.
Yeah, maybe 6 months.
Anyway, so I guess I would entertain a motion asking the council for approval to go ahead and look into a MOU with Raymond and an agreement with TRL on an interim basis until the funding is acquired and the processes necessary to bring it up to code are accomplished.
Well, and just to be clear for the people in the audience, that doesn't mean we're combining with Raymond. It
No.
means that we have a contract with TRL that we're not, doing right now because we're not fulfilling the contract because we don't have the library open. So this would help that if we support the Raymond Library. So it doesn't mean we're joining the library or anything over there.
It's just an interim stopgap until we can get this figured out. So however long that takes. So, no, that's not public discussion time. Okay, so there's a motion. I've asked for a motion. Is there anyone that would like to make that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
Or any opposed? Okay, I will start working on that with Raymond and with TRL. So. All right, so let's move on to department head reports. Chief Siegel,
Nothing.
Supervisor Houck.
Yeah, I got a couple things, I suppose. So the Chain Park, project started today, Rolling Soda, and we're getting moving on that, so that should be done. In a couple weeks, by the end of the month for sure. First Street reconstruction project is going well. Impressed with the contractors. They're very diligent in what they're doing. They're doing a good job at this point. The Red Town Initiative, that's the chip sealing project all through town. So that's on to add now. So a couple weeks we'll figure that one out and get moving on that as well. That's going to be exciting.
It's start chip sealing exciting.
Yeah, well, people get excited about
We
it.
have a lot of roads.
Yeah, people get a little upset. Robert Bush Park started that revitalization project. The crew's been over there for the last week and a half, getting all the groundwork done on that. Contractor should be in middle of the month, I think the week of the 16th, and he'll be here for a week and pound out a lot of that, so that'll be buttoned up here shortly as well. I think that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Clerk Treasurer Johnson.
I have nothing at this time.
All right, and I think I've spoken enough tonight. I don't have anything else either.
Can we have some questions then?
No, it is not a public discussion. All right, so what we can do now, we're at item 9. We're on the public comment regarding current agenda items, and anyone that would like to address this now will have 1 minute to speak. So now is your opportunity to speak if you would like to.
About what?
About the library. If you'd like to
Any
speak about the
current thing.
library, you may make a comment now that in 1 minute in length. And
Yeah,
please say who you are. for
Yeah,
the-
Kate O'Neill. I'm just wondering what's going to happen then, with 2 questions. What's going to happen then with this building? Because even if it's torn down, that's
Okay,
gonna
this
cost
is time to make a
tremendous amount
statement.
of
It's not
money.
time for us to answer questions.
All right, but that's my statement then too, is it's gonna cost a lot of money anyway you look at it, anyway you deal with it. So that needs to be considered. And then the other consideration is, so we and the kids that are used to having the programs all summer long on the steps and, you know, all those programs that they did. I was always tripping over little kids when I was going to the library. And we're not gonna have any of that this summer. It looks like. So we're just poor.
Unfortunately, that's the truth. We are. I wish I could say it was different, but it's not.
Julie, Bob. would like
Yeah,
to
just
speak.
a second. I'm
Okay.
trying to get my timer going here. All right, go ahead. Say who you are.
I like the mayor's basic recommendation as to getting all the money in place. Don't put any more money until you know it's gonna actually get fixed. My one question is, maybe you'll answer it. How much money do you have left over from the insurance? Do you still have any money left? Is that part of the leftover money?
92, I think.
Just under 92,000.
Not much, okay.
I want to say that there's another bill coming from that contractor too.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't seen it yet, but I heard it.
And that's even less.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that bill.
I haven't either. I was told there's to put all the contents back in there and pull all the port plugs and all that stuff out. So there is more going.
Go ahead.
So Tony Gwynn, TRL trustee, I wanted to say that, you know, I'm a big advocate here for the Anywhere Library. And I seem to recall that on the schedule, the kids' programs are still coming to the park in South Bend here for kids. So it's not like we're not gonna be here.
What park?
The one across the street.
Oh,
It's-
that?
it's-
Mary's Rogers.
Yeah, right
Without
there.
any shade?
Okay, we're delving into discussion here. All right,
Plants and trees, man.
all right. Just a second. I gotta get my timer going. All right, who's up? Okay, say who you are and then make your
Greg
statement.
McLean. And I would just like to in lieu of artificial intelligence being available right now. I would like to just kind of state the absolute obvious, which some of us don't seem to realize. Without a library, all of our private property values go down, 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 down. And from personal experience, my wife and I, we looked all over eastern Washington trying to find a small town to live in. But one fundamental was intact. We weren't going to live in a small town with no library because there would be no connections. And there's also been the emphasis placed on children. Well, I would suggest that men in this community have a long ways to go towards intelligent conversation. I think it's an endangered species. And so I have a sense of humor. But, I really do. I think
that's
sad.
time for you.
Okay. My sum up is.
All right, anyone else? Yes,
Please, yes, first off.
say who you are.
Diantha Weiland and, MOU, memorandum of understanding. Understanding of what? Taking care of the janitorial things. We already have our library card, so it's already good there. So that's not a problem. So you're just gonna help take care of the lawn, but the building, that's fine, great, good, like that, fantastic. Okay, second thing. Dragging your heels is not gonna get you more money. Dragging your heels and saying, oh, it's so difficult, I don't know if we can do that. Oh my, oh, that's not gonna get you anywhere. You need to go out and get the money. That's all there is to it.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. So let's move on to council comments. Councilor Williams.
I think enough's been said. I'm good.
Councilor David.
I appreciate all you guys coming and I appreciate your caring about our library and we will get this done. We'll figure it out. Hopefully.
Councilor Corcoran.
The building is not the library, is not the building.
Councilor Randall.
I'm good.
And Councilor Hyken.
I'd like to thank you all for coming. The bottom line, you can't write a check, you can't cash. That's the reality of it. Thank you. Simple.
All right, do we have any future agenda topics? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you everyone for coming. Appreciate all your input.
This was the City Council meeting for the City of South Bend, Washington. The meeting was held on June 9, 2025. The next City Council meeting is scheduled for June 23, 2025.